Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Last time, Junpei, Clover, and Lotus made it through the laboratory by brute forcing a password and then setting a room on fire to get out. Or maybe that was the intended path, because that did open the exit door. I didn't see any sprinklers though, so I have no idea how that fire is going to be put under control. Anyway, today, Junpei, Clover, and Lotus leapt out of the laboratory, slamming the door shut behind them. All three collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest, and his whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clear air, and with each one he could feel his body begin to calm down. Alright, let's go. They nodded to each other and started off down the hallway. Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked. Soon they had tried all of the doors but one. The final door sat in a corner of the hallway. Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to Junpei! He spun around. There at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running toward him. 3 of them. June, Santa, and Seven. They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air. Hey! What are you guys doing here? What? But we didn't... Before he could finish, Clover spoke. Guys, could you come over here? She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found. There was something on the wall at the end of the hallway. A map of the ship's interior. It said C deck in the upper left corner. Most likely they assumed it was a map for the floor they were on. Door 7 and Door 8. The map confirmed what they already knew. Both doors eventually led to the hallway where they had found themselves. In fact... Yeah, isn't that what I said? Till we find the 9 door, Zero ain't gonna split us up. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we can't open door 9. That's how the nonary game works. Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again. As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness. One by one, the others saw what he'd seen. As one, they all moved back toward the door Junpei had only a moment ago been ready to open. He pulled the map of the ship's interior off of the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5. Ready. I'm gonna open it. They nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were. They were just where the map had said they would be. The same room they'd been in not so very long ago. The tremendous central hospital room with empty beds from wall to wall. And then they wake up Ace, and then he's like, oh, I see, this all circled back around. And like, the key? Seven smiled. Oh yeah, because they found a key on their end. Is that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Here. Seven tossed something small and metallic toward Junpei. He caught it and found that the object was a key. On it, someone had engraved a symbol very similar to a 4. He looked over at June, who nodded back. It had to be the Jupiter symbol. I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright? Yeah, got it. Junpei tucked the new key into his pocket. As a group, they now had 3 keys that had not been used. The Earth's key, which had been found in the laboratory. The Saturn keycard, which had been found in the kitchen. The Jupiter key, which Seven had just handed to Junpei. Junpei tucked the new keys into his pocket. June spoke up. And then they're like, okay, so what are we going to do? They're all going to split up and check the other things. But first, they want to go behind door 3 because they didn't go through there. So they just want to go in there to see if they can find Snake. Meanwhile, the rest of us, we're going to investigate and blah, blah, blah. You know, we're looking around. And then I'm asking if there's any reason we came back here. Of course there's a reason, because we're not dumb. You know, there were doors and panels out here that had those symbols. So that's why we're looking, Santa. My God, are you dumb or what? So now, the elevator. But June's afraid. Last time, you know, it was like, we can only go down. But let's see. I mean, maybe, just maybe, she's afraid about being locked up alone with a boy. After a little thought, Junpei decided that she had to be nervous about being locked up in such a small space, alone with a boy. In a way, it was kind of cute. Very demure, you could say, he thought. Still, even though it wasn't exactly roomy in the elevator, they weren't going to be pressed up against one another. At least, they didn't have to be. Still, it was making her nervous. Junpei couldn't help but think how innocent she was. Her innocent. After the jokes she was making in the second-class cabin. Innocent. Okay. Come on, let's go. Again, he stepped toward the elevator. And again, he felt himself restrained. I said, wait a minute. Why? Aren't you afraid, Jumpy? Afraid of what? Well, I've never... You know. She'd never been in an elevator with a man alone before? Even so, she still seemed awfully alarmed. I might... get wet. What? Down there. I'd get soaking wet. Well, I mean, of course you would. That's the way it works. I mean, I never heard of anyone getting soaking wet somewhere else. That's true. You don't mind? Mind what? Getting wet? Well, I don't know. I think I'd probably, you know, like it. Gosh, Jumpy, you're so brave. Really? I mean, kind of think any guy would do the same thing, you know? What happens, happens, right? If you get the chance, you've just got to go for it. That's what a man's supposed to do, I guess. You're so cool, Jumpy. I really admire you. That doesn't really seem like the sort of thing you ought to admire someone for. I'm really scared. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you've never done it before. Yes. So I don't think I'll be able to last very long, and then it'll be over. Over? Yes. I'll go to heaven. Heaven? It feels kind of like you're floating in space and your mind gets all fuzzy. Like when you pass out. At least that's what I've heard from people who have experienced it. Yes. I've heard that too. Although I don't think the same thing happens to guys. What? Huh? But it would happen to men too, wouldn't it? It would happen to anyone. Once it gets into your body, the same thing happens to everyone. Well, I mean, usually it doesn't go inside the man. I mean, generally. Yes, it does. Well, eventually it will. It's not like you really have a choice. Your body will force you to swallow some of it eventually. What are you trying to do to me? Nothing. I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm just saying that that's what happens. It's a psychological reaction to what you're experiencing. Was that really how it happened? It occurred to Junpei that perhaps that was how it worked. Perhaps he'd been mistaken all these years. Had he misunderstood life so gravely? The thought terrified him. Jun seemed to be entirely oblivious to Junpei's mounting confusion and terror. I know most men probably have larger lungs, but even then I don't think you could hold your breath for 20 or even 10 minutes. Eventually you'd have to breathe and then the water would get into your lungs. Once that happens, your body won't be able to get oxygen anymore, and you'll start to feel that floaty feeling as you pass out. Finally, Junpei understood. He understood what Jun was trying to say and why she was so scared. Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't last very long. See? She's afraid that the only elevator button pointed down. And, yeah, okay. So yeah, Junpei, really needed to get his mind out of the gutter. Also, it's 2021, Junpei. Some men, maybe they wouldn't mind taking it. Just saying. Okay, well, what did I miss? Okay, well, we'd probably get really wet up there. Oh, wait, no. Well, we'd probably get really wet up there. What? File? No, there's no, like, backlog of stuff. Okay. Huh? At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can once we're done looking around down here. Okay, so, callback joke, my bad. But yeah, they found the 6 down there and blah, blah, blah. So they meet up. They found a door too. What does it mean? We don't know. So let's go back. And then there they are. They went to door 3. They're really upset. Why? Because Snake is dead. They found his little thing, his bracelet in there. They go to check. And then, yeah, right there. There's blood on the wall. It's pretty messed up, yo. So now they return. Clover is really upset. Maybe someone killed Snake. You mean open the door, pushed him in, and then, oh my goodness. Was Zero still on the ship with them? Junpei wasn't sure. Let's see where this takes us. He wasn't sure. Hey, I'm just wondering about one thing. And what's that? How can you be so sure that Zero's on this ship? Ace's eyebrows shot up. Really, Junpei? I confess I'm a little disappointed. Usually you're rather sharp. Isn't it obvious? Obvious? How so? This ship. Huh? Zero said this ship several times when he addressed us. I am Zero, the captain of this ship. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave this ship alive. As you have no doubt surmised, this ship has begun to sink. If he weren't here, he wouldn't say this ship, would he? He'd be saying something like that ship, or the ship. Oh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Ace's explanation made perfect sense. Junpei felt a little foolish that he hadn't seen it himself. Still, he was left with the question, and it was of no small importance. If Zero's on the ship, where is he? Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. And yeah, they're thinking, and then she's like, oh, Zero's one of us. But that's crazy talk. We're just trying new options here. That's crazy. Isn't this ship going to sink in a few hours? If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive. Clover looked up at Junpei and her face fell. You don't believe me? Her eyes were so pitiful. The moment Junpei's met them, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think what he said was wrong. But perhaps the way he'd said it had been. He'd been too insensitive. Clover had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she'd also seen the blasted wreck of his body. Junpei barely knew him, and the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, he couldn't begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been in, it was understandable that she would look at those around her with suspicion. She felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try to understand what she was feeling. He felt ashamed of what he'd said. Perhaps, he thought, I should apologize. But before that apology could begin... Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel that you can trust any of us. Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. As he spoke to Clover, his face was calm and friendly. But you have to understand, the more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap. Zero was the one who did those terrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing? Clover didn't answer. She didn't even look at Ace. The whole time her eyes were on Junpei. He could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. They were the color of a deep winter lake. Junpei saw no suspicion in them. Only sadness. Then, in that horrible silence, they heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase. 3 in the morning. That means we have 3 hours left. Okay. Then we need to move now. 7, Clover. I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another. Don't you? 7 and Clover remained silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away. And now we gotta hurry, blah blah blah. 7 gave him the card. And so they're checking and they're going and blah blah blah. And so then they're at door 2. Seeing it for themselves. So then they're, casting lots, trying to see where they're gonna go. But Junpei, we already know that he's cheating. 7 says some out of line shit to Lotus. And now we get to choose. So previously we went through door number 1. Let's try door number 6. Let's be difficult about it, I want to go through door 6. Junpei flipped open the piece of paper. It read Junpei, door 6. Of course it did. He'd written it after all. That's a problem. June spoke barely above a whisper, but they all knew what she'd said. None of these teams will be able to go through the doors they want. Clover and I chose door 1. Lotus and I chose door 2. It's not enough people to open a numbered door, however. The digital routes don't match up either. We've got similar problems. Junpei and I want to go through door 6. But our digital route is 5. If we're going to open that door, we need a 1. Damn. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do? Junpei crossed his arms and did his best to put his thoughts in order. The others followed suit, but with little result. Eventually, Clover broke the silence. Why don't 7 and Lotus go through door 1? With me? Her face was cold and flat, as was her voice, but her logic was sound. 7 and Lotus looked at each other. 7 plus 8 plus 4 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. And yeah, behind door 1 was the chart room and the captain's quarters, where the captain was found murdered with an axe. Just felt like pointing that out. The first problem resolved, Ace spoke up. What about me? Isn't that obvious? Isn't one of those teams just complaining that they didn't have a 1? You mean I should join Santa's team? Clover nodded, her face still cold and emotionless. Her attitude and posture could not have been more different than the energetic girl of only a few hours before. No one seemed ready to contradict her. Her response was understandable, given the horrible situation in which she had found herself, but even so. I understand. I will go through door 6 then. If we do as Clover has suggested, we can all pass through a numbered door. No one will be left behind. Seems to be the most reasonable solution. 3 plus 6 plus 5 plus 1 equals 15. 1 plus 5 equals 6. 7. Lotus, what do you guys think? I didn't have a problem with it. Me either. Alright then, we're good to go. At last, Junpei and the other 6 had managed to separate themselves into 2 teams. Clover, 7, and Lotus headed to A deck, where door 1 was, near the main staircase. Junpei, June, Ace, and Santa, however, took the elevator to E deck. The ride to E deck was a silent one. Alright, let's go! Santa's words jolted them to action, and they stepped out of the elevator into a long, straight hallway. Before long, they arrived in front of door 6. One by one, they put their palms over the red. With a soft electronic noise, it authenticated each of them. The door opened, and all at once the 4 of them leapt through it. Fortunately, the dead was located easily enough. This one had been placed quite close to the door they entered through. They gathered around it quickly and hurriedly placed their palms on it for authentication, one by one. It stopped. Yes. It stopped. The countdown had ceased, but Junpei's heart was still pounding in his chest, like a frantic, thunderous drum. It felt as though it might shake itself up and out of his throat. He'd been through the doors 3 times before, but repetition had not dulled the experience. He was not anxious to find it dulled, however. He hoped to be free of this ridiculous game long before that happened. Alright, let's go! With that attempt at good humor, Junpei took a deep breath and began to walk. He jogged down the stairs at the end of the hallway and found himself staring at a large door. It was a heavy thing made of iron and more than a little threatening. He took hold of the bar that served as its doorknob and shoved it down. The room beyond stopped him in his tracks. It was gargantuan and made entirely of metal. None of the accents of wood or tile had been seen in the rest of the ship. This room was purely functional, but utterly tremendous. Whoa, what the hell is this? Santa got out a few words before awe stole the rest of them. The rest were too stunned to offer anything more than gasps. It was easily the largest room they'd seen, and yet it was somehow closed and oppressive. The ceiling was at least 2 stories high, if not significantly more. It was easily several hundred feet across, and appeared to stretch the entire width of the ship. In the center of that gargantuan room stood a massive rounded building. Even from a distance, the sheer bulk of it was oppressive. Junpei could feel the room, the building, even the air pressing down on him. Junpei and the others were standing on scaffolding that crisscrossed the whole area. The proper term was catwalk. Junpei thought, although that didn't seem particularly important. Alright, let's head downstairs. Nearby was a long iron staircase that made its way, eventually, to the floor beneath them. They moved around toward the opposite side of the massive building, following the catwalk. Still no turn on the catwalk? On the catwalk? Yeah, on the catwalk. They hadn't said much as they walked, but as they approached the building, Ace suddenly spoke up. This looks to be the steam engine room. The steam engine room? Yes. The thing that looks like a cross-section of a mushroom is the boiler. Do you see the 3 round doors near the bottom? Coal is put into those and burned, which heats the water, producing steam. The same thing that drives a steam engine. This one is simply somewhat larger. I see. Even if Ace was right, the boiler was boiling nothing as they approached it. The entire room was as silent as the grave. Suddenly, Junpei heard a noise behind him. He turned just in time to see June collapse to her knees. Hey, what's wrong? Are you alright? He dashed toward her and wrapped his arm around her shoulders to steady her. It was then that he noticed. You're really warm. Is your fever coming back? Yes. Yes, it probably is. But I'm fine. Please don't worry about me. I just need to rest, and I'll be fine. Her voice was weak and forced, and it said a great deal more than her words did. Junpei carried her to the nearest wall and propped her up against it. She let her head fall back against the wall, as if she no longer had the strength to support it, and drew a ragged breath. Her eyes were empty, as if she was having trouble focusing them, and even speaking seemed difficult for her. Junpei felt his hand ball itself into a fist and clenched tight, his knuckles whitening. He had to find a way out, and quickly. He turned and looked at Ace and Santa in turn. They might not have shared the depth of his emotion, but they certainly shared his concern. He didn't need words to express the urgency of their situation. Alright, let's get started. Hang in there, June. I'm gonna get you out of here real soon. She managed a small nod before leaning back to rest her head on the wall. Whew! Okay. Seek a way out. How? Okay, well, we're starting here. It's a square hole. Nothing in here. Ah, look at the back wall there. I can see 3 small slots. Terminals for some sort of connector, perhaps? You mean you think we're supposed to plug something in here? Perhaps. Alright, so we're gonna need some with 3 prongs. I say this is probably here to move coal from place to place. Probably comes from over there. And then the belt carries it down the tunnel and out here. So if the conveyor belt was moving, yes, the coal would almost certainly come out here. I play Factorio, I know all about that. Okay. There's a number of these little windows along the inside of this thing. I think you're supposed to put coal in through these, but they're welded shut. I don't think we can get these open. I believe this opening is for fueling the furnace. If we were to put some coal in here and ignite it, then the steam engine might start working? It's certainly possible. Okay, so this is all proprietary stuff. Ooh, hello. A golden gear. Doesn't look like it was always golden like this. Well, then I imagine it was prepared especially for this game. Looks like there's a door over here in this tunnel. But over there must deliver the coal, which is then picked up and thrown into this door. The door appears to be welded shut, however. Okay. Huge bronze gear. And a silver gear. It's made of pure silver? No way. Silver's way too soft to use for a gear. It's got to be a steel or iron gear that's been coated with silver. Ugh. Shouldn't have called it a silver gear then. Shouldn't have got your hopes up. Were you thinking you'd haul this thing back? Nah, but I think 7 could probably carry it, don't you? So we got gears. A huge golden gear. Bronze. Silver. There's a pair of wooden boxes here. There's nothing in them. Look, Ace. It's some kind of snowman secret meeting. Those are just bags full of sand. You see them as a counterweight when you're lifting something with a pulley system. Man, you're too serious. Can I pick one up? Oh, okay. What is this? Given its placement, it's supposed to unlock the door to the left. Here's a weird indentation on the top of this thing. You think that means you have to insert something here? Yes, I would imagine so. And Junpei, I can't believe I missed something so important. What's so important? Look at those stairs. Look at them carefully. That gap. That height. That angle. Perfect. Perfect? Perfect for what? Whatever, just bring Clover here right now. Tell her she needs to walk up and down these stairs. Huh? Clover's not here. What the hell is he talking about? He's talking about being a pervert, Junpei. He wants to look up her skirt. He is an asshole. I am finding literally nothing. These two columns are different from the others. Lights are red. 3 sliders on the left are down, but this one is up. There are a number of lines engraved in these. I suspect we are meant to do something rather specific with them. Junpei, why don't you move that slider down? Oh, there's no harm in trying, I suppose. Nothing. Nothing happened. Maybe it needs to be prepared somehow. You're saying if we did something somewhere else, it'd respond somehow? Yeah, I suppose that's one way of putting it. The door's on the furnace. There's an A on it. There's a circular wheel in the center of the door. Alright, let's give that sucker a twist. Well, it's noisy, but it opens. And it's totally pitch black in there. We should, go in here. Alright. Let's go. This looks just like the door we went into. Where are we? We must be on the other side, yes? Which will put us directly above the conveyor belt. At any rate, we should keep moving. There's a great deal we've yet to investigate. There are a number of boxes on the catwalk. I don't think we can go over there. It looks like that's the pipe. Looks like the bottom connects to the conveyor belt housing. The coal must come out of this pipe onto the conveyor belt. In other words, there must be a great deal of coal in that pipe. Alright, let's give this wheel a spin. So I took one of the other doors to get to the other side of this upper floor. What? That's weird. I don't feel any resistance. Yeah. Ah, shit. A wheel. Seems to be part of the winch. Some pegs on the back that look like they go into the holes on the winch. Good job, genius. You broke it. I didn't break it. It broke all by itself. Let's try C. Hand-operated winch. There's no wheel to turn. Oh yeah, I've got the wheel I pulled off the other winch, don't I? Let's see if it fits. It fits. Perfect. Like they were made for each other. Not shaky at all. Good. Should be able to turn this now. Good work, Junpei. We should be able to haul up the wooden box now. See? Wooden box. It's under the catwalk. Can you see it? It's hanging from the rope on the winch, isn't it? It looks like there's some sort of device in the box. I'm not sure what it is. At any rate, you might as well turn that wheel now. I'm counting on you. Alright, I'll turn the wheel. Huh? What's this? What happened? This wheel only turns to the left. It only turns to the left. That means we can't reel up that rope. Yeah. We can only let the rope down. Interesting. I don't think that will be a problem. We'll simply need to go downstairs after letting the wooden box down. I will be counting on you, Junpei. Sure thing, no sweat. I believe the box has reached the floor. Yeah. He stuck his head out over the side of the catwalk and looked down. The box had only recently hung just below the catwalk, now set on the floor. It had come to rest near the end of the tunnel that covered the conveyor belt, near where June had collapsed. Junpei could see her, still leaning against the wall as if she barely had the strength to sit up. Even from so far away, it was not difficult to see that she had not improved. He almost thought he could see the heat rising from her body. She doesn't seem to be improving. Ace's expression was inscrutable, but he'd said what they had all been thinking. Well, of course not. She's not gonna just get better right away, you know? It'll take time. He tried desperately to convince himself that what he'd said was true. What could be causing this, I wonder? Illness, perhaps? Nah, it's gotta be exhaustion. Santa's response was confident and certain. She gets dropped into some weird-ass ship, forced to play some messed-up game. If you think about it, it's a lot weirder that we aren't freaking out just like her, you know? You're saying we're abnormal? Yeah. We're just running around this room solving all these puzzles like it's just business as usual. How the hell could you call that normal? We're just guinea pigs. Santa snorted in disgust. A guinea pig? You mean like a lab rat? You mean we're being used for some sort of experiment? Is that what you're saying? Dunno. But it doesn't seem like a possibility, you know? They stood there for a few more minutes, no one speaking until Santa turned and walked away from the winch. Junpei and Ace followed him. Followed him to where, my dude? Now I can go downstairs and see what was in the crate. There's a pair of boxes here. Oh, was that always there? A control panel for something. Some kind of machine. Maybe it's a control panel? 3 plugs. Maybe this hole is where the control panel goes. Well, there's only one way to find out. In you go. Dude, you did it! Everything looks alright. Okay, but what do we do now? Why don't you press the button next to it? The orange one? Yes. Alright, I'll do that. Pushing. Sweet. All sorts of lights are lighting up on this thing. And, oh yes, I think I just heard something turn on. Oh? What's that? What happened? Junpei, look! The conveyor belt's moving. The conveyor belt? I guess it's done moving now. There's still a bunch of coal on the belt, though. Looks like a bunch of it got dumped off at the... got dumped off the end of the belt into that wooden box. Where we found the control nest. Coal. Coal, huh? And just grab some. Since the belt started moving, it's transported quite a bit of coal. It all drops off the left end of the belt right into the wooden box. Then just pick it up. There we go. A wooden box full of coal. Guess there's really only one thing we can do with this stuff. Cosplay as Santa Claus? No. Foley interviews. Oh, but they're welded. Right here, then. No. Right here. So hole that'll let us put coal into the furnace. Maybe if we get some coal in there and set it on fire. Okay, let's do it. Alright, that's the last of it. No coal left in the wooden box. And nothing. Great. Well, I guess I should have expected that. Why would just throwing coal into a coal furnace do anything? Oh well, a man can dream. Junpei, explain it to me again. You're planning to stoke the furnace with coal, which will heat the water stored up there and make steam, which will then drive something else. Am I correct? In other words, you want to generate enough pressure with the steam to power the turbine and drive the steam engine, right? Yeah, I guess that's the gist of it. Well, in that case, this isn't enough coal. This furnace is enormous, so we're going to need a whole hell of a lot more coal than this. Very well then. If 3 of us work together, then we should manage to fill it much faster. I want to help too. Man, I totally didn't even see her walk up. Are you feeling up to that? Yes. Yeah, right. You look like you're one stiff breeze away from falling over, June. I think you better rest some more, alright? But no arguing. You need your rest, so you just stay there. We'll handle this. Okay. I understand. Alright, time for some manly work. Let's get this coal into those furnaces. Man, this is a lot of work. Alright, I think this should be sufficient. Alright, now we just gotta light it. Junpei, hand me your matches. What makes you think I have matches? I see. How are we gonna light it? Perhaps there's a device nearby that will allow us to remotely ignite the coal. Let's take a look, shall we? Some sort of ignition device, huh? Real quick, I need to address some space issues. Okay, now we need to find a way to set everything on fire. Easier said than done. Huh. Wonder why these lights are like this. I went by earlier, I think the two columns on the right were lit up red. You're right, but it seems they're all yellow now. Would imagine that indicates something is ready to activate, wouldn't you? Is this? I think it might be. It probably is. I think this is how we might ignite the furnace. That means that if we move that thing down... Alright, let's do it. Here we go. Hey Junpei, Ace, look at this! There's big gears turning under the boiler here. The gears, they're spinning. What the hell are you guys waiting for? Let's start looking. Uh-oh. A gold disc. Oh, this does not look beneficial to me because this is going to be a rough puzzle. I've dealt with similar in Fatal Frame though, so I guess it's just a matter of finding the right, like, just, I don't know, pattern, or like look for how the lines are going, try to make a specific pattern. I don't know. One of the doors on the furnace, there's a C on it. Go win. Oh wait, the furnace is on, so we probably won't be able to run through. Yep. It's hotter than hell in there. Did you already forget that we lit the furnace? Ah yes, you're right. With these circular discs. Oh, looks like this thing unlocks the door. There's a depression here that looks like it's the outline of 3 circles laid on top of each other in a triangle. Maybe if we put those 3 discs we found into this thing. There's only one way to find out. Let's stick them in. Huh? That's odd. Nothing's happening. Maybe you're, I don't know, putting them in the wrong places? Perhaps you have them facing the wrong directions. Perhaps you should rotate the discs to make some of the lines connect to one another. Well, no harm in trying. Instructions for operation. When the disc is touched, it will rotate a certain amount. When the white arrow is touched, the discs are switched. Please note when the discs are switched, the angles for the discs are reset. Okay, bronze, silver, and gold. Maybe I'm not making a circle? Oh, because that they're overlapping. So maybe if gold is right there. There we go. The red lines on these discs. I think maybe I can make a star polygon with these. That wasn't so bad. I forgot how casual a lot of these escape room puzzles were, and not even gonna have us like walk through it, just gonna be like, oh, you found it. Okay, well, yeah, we found it. Wow. That's an anticlimactic way to end this part, but yeah, we're gonna end this part right here. So, what awaits behind that door? Well, one more escape room. And then we're gonna get another ending. Oh man, can't wait. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. See you next time for some more Let's Play. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, one more escape room. A second ending. Doesn't quite fit the vernacular that was being used there. It should be 2 ending. 2 endings. Yeah, 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, one more escape room, 2 endings. But then that implies that there's 2 endings after that escape room, when instead it's just going to be 1, but it'll be ending 2 out of 5 that we're getting. This has derailed tremendously. Whatever. I'll see you all next time for more of this game right here. Goodbye.